What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be working on a vehicle. Well, you guys take a guess. What is a project that we started at the shop and we haven't finished it? What would that car be that we would be working on? Because there should only be one that comes to mind, right?
There should only be one project at a time that needs to be worked on, you know. So that's a tough question, though, to guess which one needs the work. But okay. I think that little camera flick might have given it away. See.
No, you can't see that. So anyhow, Garrett is back for about a week. He's just doing some stuff here in Colorado. Obviously, he still has like cars and parts and things and stuff. He made this beautiful downpipe for a Saab the past 2 days here at the shop, and I was just looking at him. I'm like, Garrett, when are you gonna be done with that? It's time to come over here to the dirty old Mustang, right?
Yeah. Got to wrap up some exhaust on this one. So.
And then I've tasked him. The exhaust isn't a big deal. Like obviously, I could booger some exhaust, but what I really want to help with is figuring out this whole crank trigger, factory ECU, EcoBoost, cam sensor to make the body control module happy. I think I talked about that in a previous video, so we're not going to go over it. But essentially, we're going to hook up and attempt to give the EcoBoost crank sensor tone wheel, trigger wheel on the engine we're thinking about right here, right?
I mean, it won't be one-to-one, though, now that I'm thinking about it.
It don't matter.
No?
It just needs some sort of a...
It's not doing anything.
Yeah.
It just needs to know that
it just needs to know, like, the body control module on this thing needs to be satisfied. And right now it's not satisfied without an RPM signal. So that's what we're going to do. Obviously, it plays into a lot of stuff with the starter signals. So right now, when you go to start this thing, it only cranks for, like, it goes... It does, like, a spurt because it doesn't see an RPM signal. Obviously, when it's running, it doesn't turn on the electric power steering because it doesn't see an RPM signal. It also doesn't keep alive the body control module for more than 15 minutes. So like if we're driving this thing down the highway, technically right now it runs and drives. I think we could jump a wire for the electric power steering and technically drive it. But guess what? When we're driving down the highway, boom, every 15 minutes it'll probably turn off.
Oh.
I think. I'm assuming some things. But we're just going to get to work on this. I welded this to the 2JZ a long time ago, and now we need to unweld it. Check out that Trevi's Customs bracket.
Did all the things.
I did that in desperation one night of just like, I have to make this work. And you should have seen how many spacers and stuff, but hey, it worked.
It got the car going.
It did, and we drove 4,000 miles across the country with it like 2 days later. So it worked. So I guess we're going to cut this thing off. Hey, do you want to hear this thing?
Hey,
do you want to fire it up? All right, where's the jump box? You ready for this? You ready for this? Here, I'm gonna hand this to you. You're a videographer, right?
Former. Retired.
So, we got pair. We got. Oh, you could hear it. It might have good power. All right, we'll let that do its thing. I think you're going to be really happy with this. It may not start. Like I said, the starter engages for it goes boop, boop, and then it turns on. So, another thing that it does, obviously I pushed the button to turn it off, and then I got out of the car, and then I walked up here, and it took a couple seconds for it to turn off. So there's like a 10-second delay. So if you're in an emergency, you just click that button, wait 10 seconds, and then it will eventually turn itself off. That could be like the wire that I tied in over here for one of those things. But anyhow, now that we know it runs, this is the first time Garrett's seen it run.
Yep.
The first time it's ran in like 3 months. I literally haven't touched this thing. Something's wrong with me. But guess what? It's getting worked on now.
Yeah.
All right.
Do it.
Do you want to start cutting?
I'm gonna leave this to you because I had a better suggestion.
No.
I had a suggestion, and here's a suggestion. This is a 60-2. I know another motor that has a 60-2, and I think I have some trigger wheels laying around, and that would be from a Saab. And we wouldn't have to cut anything. We just kind of tack it onto the motor here and just jump straight to mounting a bracket. So that's my, that's my, like, throwing Saab parts on everything I can.
Big Saab guy.
But the plan right now.
All right, how about you go find the crank trigger wheel? I'll get this thing off, and then we'll see who. See, I just
who
wanted
gets there first.
I wanted you to do it because I figured you would cut it off nicer than I would. But you know what? It's fine. I'll cut it off. I'm not fussed.
We'll see.
Oh, do you guys want to see this downpipe that Garrett made? I'm still pissed that he moved it away. Every time he comes here and he just does something cool, I'm like, this is upsetting. Imagine all the stuff we would have got done the past couple months with like fabrication, because the Mustang would have been done.
Yeah.
Because I would have just been like, Garrett, go out, like fix the exhaust and do the thing. I'll just run the business and not work on cars anymore, because all I do is.
Do
have you ever
Richard Rawlings and then do like pull like that, you know?
Well, have you ever? I feel like a business owner, you start out like, let's say, a plumber. You start out because you're plumbing and you like it or whatever. Or hey, let's say this. How about a YouTuber? An automotive YouTuber. You start out building cars on YouTube because that's what you love, and filming it and editing and uploading it, and then that's what everybody subscribes for. But then you don't end up doing that anymore because you got to run a business in order to do the thing, to do the stuff. And then here we are. But check out this downpipe. Look at that. So you divorced the wastegate. Yeah. So, yeah.
So this has been a long time project, kind of trying to diagnose some gremlins in the tune, and I think we're getting pretty close. But yeah, this is like everything. He's got a clutch kit I developed, a charge pipe that I made, the intake, like everything on the car is something that I've built for it. And then finally, he has I have an issue with exhaust pulse nonsense. So I was like, all right, divorce downpipe it is, and kind of knock that out in a few days. So
or spark plug gap.
The spark plug gap. I gave the owner of the car a list of like all the things that was done, and spark plug gap was at the top because we shortened that spark plug gap, and a lot of things have kind of helped to make it run.
This
really
thing
well.
is super sick. Obviously, Garrett did the intercooler piping. He made a little brace. Like, who makes a little brace? Garrett makes a little brace.
Yeah,
downpipe looks super sick. Dual O2 sensors. It goes down and it is braced. It is braced down there somewhere. Look at that. It's braced there. The intake. Look at that. Factory recirc, factory PCV. He made this heat shield out of like 3 pieces. Like, it's freaking crazy. And then he didn't even go and buy an oil cooler. You know, Garrett didn't buy an oil cooler. He's like, you know what? I'm going to get a vibrant core, welded, made his own intake. Did you bend him yourself?
Bent him on
He
the press, yeah.
bent him himself. So I'm freaking pissed. This is why I haven't uploaded any videos working on any cars, because I'm just depressed because Garrett's not here. Look at that. 2 bolts top and bottom.
It's rigid.
And a custom. This Garrett. This is all right. Back to the Mustang. But you know what? The Mustang, when he comes back, we're gonna get some little touches like that. So, all right, back to work. I convinced him to do it. Now we have a good crank pulley again. All right, there it is. Let's fire it up.
Easy peasy.
That's all it took, right?
Right. In all fairness, I thought cutting that off was going to be a bigger headache than it turned out to be, but
It's all right.
right tool for the job, right?
Right tool. Garrett.
I still think the Saab, in all fairness, is going to be a better fit.
But I think what I really want to do is I just want to like hold the sensor up. Like somebody who doesn't want their finger can just stand right here. Just go right there, and we'll just see how happy everything gets.
Yeah.
Because that would at least satisfy me to like, all right, cool. Because literally, if we could get this thing to have an RPM signal, finish the exhaust, hook up the coolant hoses, and it's like dyno time.
Okay, the wiring I'm curious about. It looks like a bowl of pasta.
Oh,
Does this just need to be tucked away? Is it all done?
Yeah.
Does it just need to be cleaned up?
Yeah,
Right, that's cool.
Bowl of pasta. I appreciate that though. I appreciate
If it works, that's the only thing that matters.
We're in the testing stage of
Okay,
things.
gotcha.
So once we're out of the testing stage, then we could spend an hour and tuck things. Maybe 10 hours. We could spend 10 hours cleaning the wiring up on here before we do anything else. But essentially, it should be dyno ready after we have a couple things.
In all fairness, as long as it fires up, we don't even need to do the exhaust to get on the dyno.
True. We need to do the O2 though.
Oh, yes.
O2 guy.
Yes.
All right. Well, what configuration do you like? Oh, right there.
If we're gonna have to commit, we got to cut off one of these little ears so it centers up. But yeah,
we'll figure it out. You'll figure it out.
One of us will figure it out.
All right, Garrett Fab. What do we got going on?
I think we're about as close as we can be without like having on like a lathe or doing something fancy to kind of really center it up. Basically, I just took a marker while the pump was on the motor and just marked a little.
You just moved it.
Did I bump it?
Here. You went that way. Oh.
I'll go back. I'll really move it that way. I know I got to go back and fix it. But yeah, so I basically just marked a line with the marker, went past it several times so I could know for sure that I wasn't bobbling or moving around inside there. So I'm pretty confident in my mark. And then I'm just going to center up on the bolt holes and what's left of the bolt hole that I cut out of there. Centering up on my marks. And we'll just tack weld it in, do like a spot on each 3 of the sides there. Bolt it on, and then we can kind of test it. We'll spin it and see if it has any kind of run out in it. If we're close enough, then I think we're good. We got a pretty good air gap that we can also have with that sensor. It doesn't have to be like near contact. So for what it's doing,
what
it's
if
gonna do its job.
If we put it on there like right now with a bolt, like with a washer on
we
there?
Had like a big washer, but I don't know that it would be enough to hold.
Just because then we could like rotate it a couple times. See if it, and then
I
we
guess
could tack
we
it
could
on the
tack
car.
it on the car, yeah. We can look for some big old washers and see if that'll hold.
We got some washers.
Big old
guess what else
fender
I found?
washers. Hey!
Huh?
We got some future plans for Saab. You know, fun fact, this little connector right here, this style, developed by Saab, like 1980 something.
You know what would be funny is if like a stock Saab ECU would almost like plug into an ECU master. Wouldn't that be silly? It was meant to be.
Yep.
No, Garrett wants to put ECU master on a Saab because they have this weird DI cassette thing that controls like the ignition, and they always go bad.
It's the knock, the coils, the cam position, all of it in this one module, and they are nothing but headaches.
And so he keeps telling me to like put a Saab engine in something, and I'm like, well, not until we get rid of that stuff. So maybe, and I was telling him, he's like, how hard would it be to run it? I was like, man, let's cut some wires, pin it into the ECU. We'll do it on wasted spark with no cam sensor, and we'll see what happens.
Love it.
And then you'll drive it 40 hours home.
You got it. I'm planning. Yeah. Do this, then it's on to ECU. So we'll challenges first here. All right. So we got our fancy dial indicator positioned here.
Trying to center it up as good as we can.
Yeah, we got this far just by eye, and now we're just trying to randomly rig something to tell us the last. Oh, right there. That's the guy. Yeah, right where I thought.
And obviously this isn't going to read anything, but we're just trying to level this thing out right now. Getting better. Alright, so we got this thing on, we got it plugged in, we have it kind of temporarily mounted, and look at that. It works, I think. So
good proof of concept.
He's gonna spin it with the wheel right there. Basically, I'm just gonna key on and look at the RPM and see if this works. You ready? Key on. All right. Oh, that's it. We got the RPM. Do it again. That's it. So in theory now it will know that it's cranking. It will know that it's running. It'll keep the fuel. Well, technically the fuel pump's controlled by the Holley, but like from the factory, it would have kept the fuel pumps alive.
Okay.
It would have done all of that stuff from the factory. But everything is just happy. So now power steering should work with an RPM signal,
Nice.
especially if it's over like 500 RPM, like it should in theory work. So, I mean, that's our solution for now. So, let's put the belt on it.
Let's weld it on there for us before we go flinging belts and cranking stuff. And
Okay, yeah, because
I see that buzzsaw just go somewhere.
Yeah, so we'll get some tack welds on it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
And then I think we should probably just tack it.
Yeah.
Overall.
For now. Or like even done deal.
I don't know. I don't want
There's not going to be any stress or strain on it, just velocity, just momentum.
Yeah.
So.
And then we'll have some bolts and some washers on there too. All right, well, I guess fire up that TIG welder, right?
Do this thing.
And then, as soon as that, then we could fire it up and we can see how happy everything is. And I think everything's just going to be happy. And it's going to be stupid that I've been waiting for this long. Just been waiting. See, that's what it was. I was just waiting for you to come back to, like, get this right. So that's all it took. So if you guys want to see Trev get some projects done, we just got to bug Garrett. I think if we figured out a way, like, he came back, like, 1 week a month. Or at least, like, 4 days. Something like that. Like, comes in on, like, when would work? When works for you?
Land on a Wednesday midday and then fly back out Saturday night.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
We would get a lot of stuff done. We could go Friday night drags, do some fabrication. Maybe we could hit an event up in Denver, drop you off at the airport.
Yeah. Hey, I like it.
We'll be good to go. So, all right, maybe once a month. Well, once a week. How about that? You know what Trev needs is just an airplane. We can just fly Garrett around. Be like Taylor Swift. Be like, hey, Garrett, I need you to weld this thing real quick. Just fly you out. I'll just send the jet. I'll send the jet. It'll come pick you up. Just make sure you're on time. All right, she's tack welded on there, and sensor's plugged in, belt is on. So now we have the wrong RPM signal. But again, we don't care about how accurate the signal is. We just need a signal to where it makes things happy. So let me freaking key on, push the button. Ready? So Garrett has already started working on the solution. So what are those guys called?
These are called coupling nuts, and that's just a really long set screw, basically.
That's beautiful.
So trying to just do anything we can to like minimize a weird like bracket. So now hopefully we're gonna get pretty close to where we can just like have a flat bracket that has 5 bolt holes in it, and then just keep it really nice and simple. But we're gonna try to mount something like that. So I'm gonna pick up some coupling nuts small enough for that sensor now, because then we'll do that again on the back side of the sensor, and we'll be pretty close to mounting that thing hopefully tomorrow. Be done with it.
And then that means we can take this thing for a drive. I'm also really stoked because, like, let's say we're in like the pits and we have something that's like a little long, like let's say like a piece of wood, just fire up the old 7.3, bring the wood over here. Just go ahead.
I was thinking we need to paint this like bright orange or something, just because when it's spinning, you don't realize what's going on there.
Yeah. Well, and then if somebody would be like, "Oh, what's this?" and you're boop, freaking see you later, finger. But I'm pretty happy with that so far. Like it's definitely not what we want it to be, but it's gonna get us going. And the other option was buying like a Coyote engine harness with a Coyote ECU, and then I'd have to buy another key and program the ECU to the car, and then split that signal off of there to go to the thing. And I was just like, and then I found one on eBay, $250 for the ECU and the wiring harness. And then I hesitated. The guy sent me an offer, because sellers can send you an offer, and he sent me an offer. It's like $250. It was like $190 or something, and I was gonna buy it, and I was like, I'm gonna wait a day or so. And then frickin' sold, and then now here we are.
Yep.
We're getting her done. What happened? We're supposed to be making a video.
Temporary solutions for hopefully temporary problems.
Temporary solution for long-term problem.
Hopefully it's not a long-term problem.
Long-term solution for a temporary problem.
Hopefully
Right?
it's temporary on both ends.
Yeah, that's
we got a little something up the sleeve for hopefully getting rid of all this. In case it doesn't pan out, we're going to use this for now. If it does, this might just be here for a short time, but
that's crazy though. I mean, I love the simple ingenuity of like not overcomplicating this, because I was obviously where's my bracket at? My big beautiful bracket. Like, I essentially did the same thing, right? But with different, with just a different mechanism. And like, this is adjustable. It goes in and out. You can move things and stuff. Yeah. Tucks the cam sensor back behind the engine. Look at that. You could stick your finger right there. The brain that Garrett has in there, it just works good.
Now, we're slightly concerned, at least I am, that vibration of the motor might be an issue here. So again, temporary solution. We're just going to make sure that this works. We can adjust some things if we need to make this stiffer if we need to.
Saying we're going to stick another jam nut right here, which will stiffen that up.
Yeah, there's that.
And once we cut this off, there's not going to be as much, not as much leverage right here.
Yeah. I don't think we're going to make contact. I don't think there's going to be that much. But we might even space away this bracket and just kind of do some different things. But this way we know we have a base that we can just do all kinds of adjustment with if it had to stay here for long term.
Which, you know, Trevy's Customs. You know, it might stay that. So now we're gonna fire it up and just look at it and make sure that everything works, which it should, in theory. You ready? All right, so we just hop in. This is my favorite part. You just foot on the brake. So we got the Mustang down. Time to hear this exhaust for the very first time. Garrett, how do you think it's gonna sound?
That's a good question. I have no idea.
I get to hear for the first time.
You were ready to hear it?
Hell yeah. It sounded good.
And then she died. Really loud, but sounds better than it going right out of the headers. Definitely needs a tune, because I don't even know what it's on. E85. It's just base map of things. We don't have their fuel thing hooked up. I don't have anything hooked up, so it won't let me like throttle it. But if it had some more fuel, I'd probably need to go to the fuel table, give it like 20% fuel in that zone, and then it would probably let me give it some throttle, because right now it just doesn't have enough fuel to actually, you know, for the air. But what do you think, Garrett?
I love it.
How's it sound?
Sounds like it's got some power behind it, some torque behind it.
I hope. I hope. Yeah, I need to hook up the Holley. That sensor's plugged in. The RPM turned off for a second. But I don't know if we're dealing with like a powered ground. I don't know. Weird thing. But it worked. I definitely need to button up some more things. But hey, now we have exhaust. Now we pretty much hook up the radiator, put some coolant in it, make sure we have a wideband, play with some tuning, and then maybe we can drive it soon.